Marshall's a tough environment, though. Marshall's that sneaky road trip, in my opinion, and this has been like a decade long that Marshall's been fire at home and terrible on the road. That's a dangerous road game, but if you look at, there's no return game with Kent State. There's no return game with Akron. Maybe when they go to UMass with Frank Martin being such a good coach, he could really take teams out of their rhythm. But I think there's a case that they could be undefeated in the regular season.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
If there's more revenue for the league, there's more revenue for the players, and that would make it saleable. So they may have objections. Certainly there's more risk of injury the longer the season goes. But, these guys, their careers are short. The money is good. Money would be better. So I wouldn't bet against the league expanding sooner rather than later.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
This is the fear that we had going on. And the players obviously were paid $10,000 to $30,000 per fix. But what this does is it hits at the core of the identity in the sport, especially in the modern day betting era.
College basketball today, only on SportsGrid.
His wife and his kids were like, I kind of like this. This kind of works out for me. Hey, daddy's a celebrity again, so I get access to things. Daddy's making money again. Hadn't made a nickel in the last 5 years. Now he's made a lot of money, so I'm sure they're good.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden, the prospect of daddy being away, like he ain't cheating on you in Buffalo, I can tell you that. I live there.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
Hour number 2 on a Tuesday here. Oh, no, football season is winding down. What will the boys talk about every day? I don't know, every single hot topic that you can possibly have across the sports landscape. It's your boy DRS, it's Joe Ranieri. This is what we do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. We got you for 2 hours with the livest topics, making sure you're smarter around the water cooler, Joe. Happens every day. It's like magic.
Yeah, and this is, the dreaded 2 weeks prior to the final football game of the season, but this gives folks a great opportunity to get caught up with what's about to happen in March Madness. We're getting to the All-Star break in the NBA, so a big second half push coming, and pitchers and catchers, Donnie, are just right around the corner.
I can't wait for baseball here, but it is like the unofficial start of like the public paying attention to college basketball. Like, yeah, they've been playing games since like late October, but all the focus usually on football. Now you're right in the midst of conference tournament or conference play before we get to the conference tournaments. It's a great time to look. And also big games on a night-to-night basis. You got undefeated teams still left over that Joe and I already talked about in hour number 1. It's a great time here to start that focus on college basketball and the NBA with the trade deadline coming up before we get to the Super Bowl. Not this Sunday, but next Sunday here. Let's get to the early lineup and the hottest topics, which includes Ryan Wedding on the run no longer, captured at 44 years old as a drug kingpin, which he says, not guilty. I didn't do any of this.
Yeah, well, that's why did it take so long for you to come in then? It's something tells me, Tony, he knew the writing was on the wall. It was not if, just a matter of when. Strikes me as the kind of guy that like knew the jig was up, right? But he's just like, let me just live it until they catch me and we're good to go.
Like, it's got to be like an odd feeling where, like, obviously if you're importing cocaine, allegedly, let's just say, and it's probably millions of dollars in your pocket, you're like escaping law and it's got to be good. But then when you finally get caught, you're right. Like when the jig is up at that point, it's like, I got to do 25 years. Like, and I'm not going to have like, and I'm going to be in lockdown. That's got to be tough. Like when the picture of the perp walk with the handcuffs that he had, that's got to be a tough pill to swallow. Like, man, the fun is over and it's not coming back.
Yeah, no, it's not. It's like, listen, live it, right? Tomorrow's promised to nobody, and now, well, your tomorrow is pretty much over at this point now that you've been caught. So, oops. But I hope you had a good time. I mean, my goodness.
I'll tell you, he didn't have a good time. Mike McDaniel in Miami going, Tua Tagovailoa, drafted him, should be good. This guy can't throw the football. When it's cold, he can't play. Oh, my goodness. Did you just see Justin Herbert throw that ball 50 yards on a line, cross his body while he was on the run? That's what McDaniel gets. He's, a matter of fact, telling the rest of the NFL teams, I don't even want a head coaching job. Just bring me Justin Herbert, and I'll be fine. He's announced as the offensive coordinator of the Chargers. It's official.
Love it. Love it. Another one of these guys off the Shanahan tree, right? Him, McVay, a few others. This is a guy that I watched here in Miami transform from what was supposed to be a West Coast offense. And when he realized, I don't have a quarterback for the West Coast offense, he transferred that team into a running power football team like Jim Harbaugh. So his ability to adapt, Donnie, from an offensive game perspective, I think this is Harbaugh nailed this hire much, much better than what he was dealing with there over the last couple of seasons.
Now, let me get this straight in Miami. How did this happen? Mostert, Achane, Waddle, you have Tyreek on one side. How wasn't this a juggernaut into the, how did that get messed up? That's what Mike McDaniel was the perfect architect for that offense, and it didn't work here. I'm still astounded by it to this day.
Well, I mean, it worked when they were all healthy and on the field together. But the minute that they weren't, and we got 27 concussions later, it didn't work. And then, they lost Mostert, and, Tyreek Hill was an absolute, he got a little step slower, had more injury. Everything spiraled. But when it was full and together and everyone was healthy, it worked pretty well. They said, oh, heck, it got to a $200 million contract. That's how well it worked.
Let's see what happens out there in Los Angeles. Ben Shelton, what's he doing down under? I don't know. He keeps on winning tennis matches here and advancing, giving the Americans a legitimate chance at a major. I don't know if it's legitimate, but he's moving on.
It would be, it's great to think, Donnie, and hope, but we have not been relevant in a very long time on the men's side in tennis here. And something tells me, you just saw Alcaraz advance here earlier, Sinner by the hair on his chinny chin. So something tells me ultimately it's going to be one of the two usual that are going to hold that cup there.
Playing in the NFL, you got to be able to see over the offensive line. Diego Pavia listed at under 5'10" at his measurements here. Is he a good athlete? Absolutely. But you got to be tall to play quarterback in the NFL. Not a good sign for his future, apparently.
Well, listen, I get what schools do. They list everyone, 2 inches taller and 20 pounds heavier. I get it, but how did you think that one was going to go there, Diego? I'm just how did you not get out in front of that one? Because you knew the minute that they started, once you get ready for the draft, nobody was going to buy that you were 6 foot at all. Looking at him at the Heisman Award, I'm watching this kid stand. I'm like, how tall is he? That is, my goodness. I mean, he looks shorter than Drew Brees.
By the way, I did see that there are ways, Joe, that they can actually medically crack your legs and stretch them there so they heal and you can get maybe 2 to 3 inches out of it. I don't know who would want to go through that, but people apparently do. I don't know, Pavia. Maybe it's a slot wide receiver, a little Braxton Berrios type action here. Same size, similar at that point. Maybe Xavier Restrepo. You can go in that sort of mold here in the NFL and try to make some dollars at that point. Davis Webb, he wants some dollars as a head coach. The only question is, are the Buffalo Bills going to say, we just got rid of Sean McDermott, and a lot of other people have already turned us down. Why don't we make Davis Webb our head coach here? Phew, man, Buffalo, come on, get better.
And listen, he's a buddy, and it was the backup for Josh Allen, right? So he's great. And Josh Allen, apparently, for better or for worse, and I don't love this, but the idea of having Josh Allen with a seat at the table and a say on who his boss is going to be is not a good situation. I mean, great talent like that need a great coach, somebody that'll push him. Hiring one of his buddies like Davis Webb is not going to cut it in Buffalo for Josh Allen. But again, you already interviewed in-house with Brady. I don't know what they're going to do, but that seems like the most logical choice at this point.
Yeah, how about this logical choice? Let's go back in time. Let's keep Sean McDermott as our head coach. We'll fire the general manager. We'll get Josh Allen a number 1 wide receiver, and we move into our new stadium as possibly the Super Bowl favorites next year. Joe, how did we get here at this point? We had it all in Buffalo, and now it seems like we don't.
Yeah, well, and good luck to the one who takes that job and doesn't make the postseason next year. Let's see what the Bills Mafia does then.
Exactly. If Sean McDermott comes back after a 1-year hiatus, that's what happens.
Yeah.
Shedeur Sanders ain't a 1-year hiatus. That guy's 1 year in the NFL and 1 Pro Bowl. So apparently if he plays 15 years, a 15-time Pro Bowler, one of the best quarterbacks we've ever seen, Pro Bowler Shedeur Sanders.
Think about it. I mean, that's going to look great on a business card, right? Down the road, Donnie, like here, it's Shedeur Sanders, former Pro Bowl NFL and quarterback, right? Even though he's not really a Pro Bowler, he's kind of like a reserve because they don't have enough Pro Bowlers actually to want to show up and play in this game. So, yeah, but good Pro Bowler, none the same. Nobody's going to read the fine print, Donnie.
Yeah, like before the NFL ticket, like when they used to go to Hawaii and play in the Pro Bowl and the players actually tackled and they all got together and the superstars would show up and it was in Hawaii to end the season. It was pretty fun times here. And then fast forward to where that 1 year where they refused to tackle anybody and the commissioner had to come out and say, you do that again, we will wipe this game off the planet. But they realized how good the ratings were, so they try to tweak it. And yes, just because you can get 10 million people to tune in because there's guys in NFL jerseys playing flag football doesn't mean it should happen. Hint, hint, NFL. Do away with it now. The PGA, they're back on ESPN. Looking to make a big splash here at this point. Brooks coming back. Ooh, we got some big ratings ahead, do we?
Yeah, I mean, the first time ESPN's actually airing a non-major PGA Tour event live across all of its platforms, Donnie, that they're going to be, it's going to be Brooks Koepka time in this event. Again, non-major. How many people are really tuning into that?
I don't know, but you tune in next because Joe's going to have a solo segment all by himself talking about the NHL. Next. Woo!
Marshall's a tough environment, though. Marshall's that sneaky road trip, in my opinion, and this has been like a decade long that Marshall's been fire at home and terrible on the road. That's a dangerous road game, but if you look at, there's no return game with Kent State. There's no return game with Akron. Maybe when they go to UMass with Frank Martin being such a good coach, you know, he could really take teams out of their rhythm. But I think there's a case that they could be undefeated in the regular season.
In-game live only on SportsGrid.
If there's more revenue for the league, there's more revenue for the players, and that would make it saleable. So they may have objections. Certainly there's more risk of injury the longer the season goes. But, you know, these guys, their careers are short. The money is good. Money would be better. So I wouldn't bet against the league expanding sooner rather than later.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
This is the fear that we had going on. And the players obviously were paid $10,000 to $30,000 per fix. But what this does is it hits at the core of the identity in the sport, especially in the modern day betting era.
College basketball today. Only on SportsGrid.
His wife and his kids were like, I kind of like this. This kind of works out for me. Daddy's a celebrity again, so I get access to things. Daddy's making money again. Hadn't made a nickel in the last 5 years. Now he's made a lot of money, so I'm sure they're good. But all of a sudden, the prospect of Daddy being away, like he ain't cheating on you in Buffalo, I can tell you that. I live there.
The Craig Carton Show. Only on SportsGrid.
We told you to focus on the NBA. We told you should be focusing on college basketball and also the NHL. Yeah, it's freezing cold outside here in the Northeast. What a better time to get the puck and the skates on. By the way, Joe, being a Northeast guy back in the past, like we had ponds. We bought, sticks, even though we didn't play ice hockey, and we also had skates up here. Did you ever skate on the pond, man? I used to love doing that. You always get chased off by the HOA, though.
Yeah, no, I had a lot of friends of mine growing up, Donnie. They were big hockey guys, and they played on every travel team. It wasn't like every high school had a hockey team, Donnie, right?
Yep.
So it was, you did what you had to do, and you looked forward to those freezing days where the lake or whatever it was would freeze over, and they'd go out, and I'd be like, yeah, "Good luck, guys." I'm a cleats guy. I am not a skates guy.
But and also back in the day, I'm talking about like in the 1980s. I grew up in Somerdale, New Jersey, which wasn't too far away from the Flyers practice facility, which was at the Coliseum in Voorhees, like right on the town border. And I swear, Joe, it was like the one rink within 100-mile radius. And there were leagues there. There were like, the small time programs and like the South Jersey Elite, the Gladiators, they used to call them. But the men's beer league, Joe, that place used to operate 24/7. Like, hey, I'm in a men's league. When do you play? Tuesday morning at 1:30 a.m. Like, it was the only place you could actually go and do it as well. I can't imagine what they charge for it either.
It's crazy, right? It's absolutely nuts. And I can tell you, Donnie, having watched the Florida Panthers here in South Florida from inception to what has happened recently now, you would think, where are they playing hockey in Florida? Like, where? Yeah. There are rinks popping up everywhere over the last 3 years, Donnie. The sport has grown exponentially here, and now you'd be hard-pressed to drive 20 miles without running into a place where they can actually play hockey now.
Used to be an afterthought, like, Tampa Bay is eventually going to fold. What do you think? Hockey's going to work in Miami? Like, the two best organizations in the NHL are basically in the state of Florida. It doesn't make sense, but it does make sense if you think about it here. Also, to reach the Stanley Cup final, talking about those Eastern Conference teams, Joe, the 2 to 3 teams that we just mentioned are some of the favorites. The Lightning, plus 240 price. The Hurricanes, plus 320. And then there's the Florida Panthers there, to plus 480 price, and that big drop-off after that. How about that? Carolina, technically more a Southern team here. Florida and Tampa Bay. Just the way it's been in the NHL, man. Move it closer to warmer weather. Get yourself a better hockey team, apparently.
Listen, so everybody knows that the best team in the league is still the Colorado Avalanche, right? But let's face it, it's what the Tampa Bay Lightning are doing right now is pretty darn impressive, right? So they should be, and it's funny, as good as the Lightning have been, they're still double-digit points back of the Avalanche, which shows you just how ridiculous the season that they are having right now. But yeah, I think coming out of the East, you can't discount the back-to-back champs, right? Have been there 3 years in a row. They are getting healthier. Tkachuk is back on the ice for them. They are expecting Landeskog and a few other there. I think this is going to be a lot closer in the end in the East than I do think it's going to be in the West, believe it or not.
Yeah, in the Western Conference, the Colorado Avalanche, a plus 125 price as it sits right now for them to win that conference. Just shows how crazy the NHL is. Like, the Flyers stink right now, but the Flyers absolutely wiped out the Avalanche on the road, and then the Flyers got wiped out against the Islanders. That team stinks, but the Vegas Golden Knights are in that second slot here, plus 470, followed by the Edmonton Oilers at plus 550, and every other team in the Western Conference, Joe, at least listed at 10-1 or higher.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I said, it's tough to look at past anybody other than Colorado. But we've seen this kind of dominance from them in the past, and then teams like the Golden Knights show up, right? But they are one of the teams this year, unfortunately, that has more injuries than we have seen there. Stone, Carlson, Theodore, Eichel, all injured for extended period of time. Aiden Hill, all of those guys have been hurt here. Can they get them back to make a run? But right now, it's Colorado's world, Donnie, and everybody else is just living in it at this point.
You know, us is living, and just about everybody's living in here in Philadelphia as well, pounding out the Philadelphia Flyers. The Islanders came to town last night, wiped out the Flyers 4-0. Same thing, Shay. Let's hire a general manager. Oh, yeah, where did he come from? Well, he used to be a Flyer. Well, let's hire a president of hockey operation, Keith Jones. Oh, where did he come from? I used to be a Flyer. Why don't we hire a new head coach? Oh, who's that, Rick Tocchet? He used to be a Philadelphia Flyer. Like, come on, man. Break the cycle. Break the cycle. I'm upset.
Kind of crazy, all of a sudden, the transformation of the New York Islanders and what they have done now and what Bo Horvat has brought to this table. And now all of a sudden they're second or third in the Metropolitan? Like, what happened? I mean, our good friend George Kurtz here at the network, we have just been roasting him over the years of just how terrible the Islanders have been. Great goaltender, can't score any goals, but boy, this what a turnaround for the Islanders and Patrick Roy here at this point.
By the way, the New York Islanders, another little story when growing up as a kid here. Like I was a huge Flyers fan, always hated the Devils, but I used to get a kick out of the Islanders. Like they would show like from out Nassau County Coliseum. And I used to say as a kid, like, man, they play in the Bahamas. Isn't that cool, the Islanders? Like, come on now. Like play on the island up there. Like, you get all confused as a 10-year-old kid. Like, they play in the Bahamas? What's up with that? But they don't. But they're going to play. How about this game tonight, though, Joe? Buffalo, Toronto. That's two of Cam's favorite teams in the world teeing it up tonight. Total 6.5 and a slight favorite, depending where you're shopping at, as who actually is the favorite. Leaf Sabres.
Yeah, who would have thunk it, right? In years past, this was always the laughable, like Toronto's like, yeah, okay, just a scheduled loss for Buffalo. But not so much this year at all. Not to mention the look-ahead spot here, Donnie, because if I'm not mistaken, when you look at what's coming up here, I think on Friday, isn't it the return of Mitch Marner? This should be very interesting here to Toronto. Now, of course, no longer with Toronto. He'll be returning for the first time with Vegas. So it could be a little bit of a look-ahead spot here, but I wouldn't be looking past the Buffalo Sabres right now because what we thought was, they'll come back down to reality. And they haven't come back down to reality yet. This is still a pretty competitive hockey team right now.
Mammoth on the road to take on the Florida Panthers. Bob's going to be in net as roughly a minus 162 favorite here. Do the Mammoth have a chance down in South Florida? Hey, you get a little vacation time.
Well, they better, because I'm tired of we haven't had Barkov or Kachuk all season. So as soon as we get one of them back, he's back. Let's go. It's time to kick it into gear, Florida.
I'll meet you at the elbow room tonight. We're out of here.
Class is in session. Today, let's talk about the teaser. A teaser is a multi-leg bet where you shift the point spread in your favor. You get better numbers, but every selection has to win. It doesn't matter what you bet if you don't have the insights. Tune into SportsGrid and get ahead of the class.
But I remember being 16 in high school, being in my school uniform, long pants and a tie, and I deadlifted 200 kgs, so that's 440 pounds. So so that was I actually have a video of it, so it might get leaked somewhere. Someone might be able to find that one.
We might need to get that one to B-roll the show with.
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
Marshall's a tough environment, though. Marshall's that sneaky road trip, in my opinion, and this has been like a decade long that Marshall's been fire at home and terrible on the road. That's a dangerous road game, but if you look at, there's no return game with Kent State. There's no return game with Akron. Maybe when they go to UMass with Frank Martin being such a good coach, he could really take teams out of their rhythm. But I think there's a case that they could be undefeated in the regular season.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
57% chance of winning a PGA Tour major. Would I be wrong by saying I want to invest in the no on Scotty Scheffler? And that $100 investment would pay back $213 here. Everybody thinks Scotty's going to win. It's like 100 golfers in those fields each and every week in the majors, the best golfers in the world. I'm going against the grain, Joe. Give me the no on Scotty Scheffler.
Prediction Markets Edge, only on SportsGrid.
Predictive markets, we love them right here on the early line. It's a Tuesday morning, and a lot of times, like, hey, who's that new head coach going to be? As the coaching carousel continues to turn, but the focus now down under the Australian Open, the men's Australian Open winner. Two heavy favorites, Yannick Sinner trading at 48 cents. Also, Carlos Alcaraz trading at 43 cents. The next closest, one of the best tennis players in the history of the sport, Novak Djokovic, 8 cents here, Joe. So it looks like it's going to be Sinner, Alcaraz, and nobody is surprised.
How can you be surprised? I mean, it's rinse and repeat in this sport on the men's side, and then you can throw, Sabalenka on the women's side, and it's like, okay, just let me know what's happening here. When we get to that point, we should be good to go. Although it did look like Sinner maybe got pushed a little bit here earlier in the Australian Open and was able to escape it, but. I mean, ultimately, Donnie, if you were going to bet on this, the underdog, it very rarely happens here. To me, and especially in the predictive markets, we talked about this. They're telling you that, the big three era is no longer the big three. It is basically the big two, and they are likely in these majors always going to be going up against one another.
By the way, on Kalshi, Sinner opened up a 60% chance. That was on December the 30th. Then he crashed all the way down to, let me see, was it 40%? Because I think, did somebody drop out or something, like somebody, he's playing, dropped out or something like that, and it crashed until he actually won that from the player dropping out. Now he sits there around that 48%, and Alcaraz around 43%. We'll see what happens here. Our guy, Ben Shelton, he's trading at 2% chance right now. Not much of a chance for him. Flip it over to Polymarket here and take a look at the 2026 Women's Australian Open winner. Sabalenka's up top with Swiatek and Rybakina at 14%, but Sabalenka, 55% chance. So a $100 investment on the yes for her will pay back $178.
Yeah, and get it while you can, right? I mean, my goodness. I mean, this is something that she is, I think she's won multiple Australian Open titles. She's reached the final 3 years in a row. The fact that you can even get that kind of return by backing her, it's all about the surface, and she loves this surface. So it would be very hard to see her being upset between the men or the women.
Yeah, she opened up around a 35% chance here. Polymarket now sits today. Currently, right now, live, 55% chance to come home with them. Just scrolling down to see if I can find Anna Kournikova listed here, but I don't find her listed. Oh, well, maybe she can win a later tournament at that point. You never know. Yeah. No. Swiatek, Joe. Get it right out here. Come on now. Pronunciation.
She's already lost.
Who will win? She's already lost. Oh, well. Who will win a PGA major this year? I'm telling you, Joe, I'm still and it hurts. Scotty Scheffler's like, look, man, I took a little bit of a layoff here, came right back and won a quick golf tournament. I'm telling you, I'm taking the no at 45 cents here on Scotty Scheffler to not win. A very unpopular opinion, Joe. Sticking to it.
Yeah, so it's so hard to bet against him. We just witnessed it again for the first tournament. Like, my goodness, in the American Express. Like, I mean, come on. If the guy is lurking on a Sunday, it's worse than Tiger Woods. He is literally going to go off at a $2 plus 200 on every tournament, especially the majors, Donnie, and it's crazy. The only way to make any money is to do exactly what you're proposing, is to fade him here. And that really is the only way to look at it.
It's still hard to do, right? Like, winning a major that's why they grade you on, hey, man, that guy won his third major. That's an unbelievable feat, like, for your entire career. And then there's guys like, Jack Nicklaus out here and certainly Tiger Woods. But Scotty Scheffler is that type where he does have that Tiger effect. Hey, Scotty's only down 3 shots after day one. Like, perfect situation. Like, what other sport would you have a guy down 3 strokes after round number one? Like, he's going to walk away with this thing because that's what he does. And it seems like everybody, when the competition gets tougher, he just gets more mental fortitude in his head where he's not going to give it back. Like, Scotty Scheffler entering into 5 shots back on the final day. It's like, yeah, he's got a shot, just like we thought about Tiger Woods. So 58% chance for him to win a major. Most people probably in their right mind, like, yeah, he's probably going to get one of the 4 here. But I'm just going no to say it is hard to do. And can he trip up 4 times? I don't know, but I'll bet on it.
Well, listen, I tell you what, we got to keep an eye on the market because with the amount of attention ESPN is going to be giving Brooks Koepka this week, Donnie, with his return to the PGA, there are going to be a lot of people thinking he might be winning a major this year, but I have my doubts on that as well.
I got my doubts on how this next segment is also going to go. So I'm going to have to put my creative influences back over this show, Joe, and get right back to the NFL. We got a whole bunch of tennis coming up next. And I don't mean you're going to watch it live, people. Come on back. We're going to have
Class is in session. Today, let's talk about the teaser. A teaser is a multi-leg bet where you shift the point spread in your favor. You get better numbers, but every selection has to win. It doesn't matter what you bet if you don't have the insights. Tune into SportsGrid and get ahead of the class.
But I remember being 16 in high school, being in my school uniform, long pants and a tie, and I deadlifted 200 kgs, so that's 440 pounds. So yeah, so that was I actually have a video of it, so it might get leaked somewhere. Someone might be able to find that one.
We might need to get that one to B-roll the show in.
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
Marshall's a tough environment, though. Marshall's that sneaky road trip, in my opinion, and this has been like a decade long that Marshall's been fire at home and terrible on the road. That's a dangerous road game, but if you look at, there's no return game with Kent State. There's no return game with Akron. Maybe when they go to UMass with Frank Martin being such a good coach, you know, he could really take teams out of their rhythm. But I think there's a case that they could be undefeated in the regular season.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
57% chance of winning a PGA Tour major. Would I be wrong by saying I want to invest in the no on Scotty Scheffler? And that $100 investment would pay back $213 here. Everybody thinks Scotty's going to win. It's like 100 golfers in those fields each and every week in the majors, the best golfers in the world. I'm going against the grain, Joe. Give me the no on Scotty Scheffler.
Prediction Markets Edge, only on SportsGrid.
The Australian Open currently taking place right now. Is it Rod Laver Court? Did I get that right? I think it's Rod Laver Court or Arena where they play at the main course down there. Coco Gauff got tripped up here. Only had 3 winners, 26 unforced errors. And I don't even know how this is possible. Usually when you watch Joe tennis, it's all about like every other, serve is an ace. 0 aces, 5 double faults. You're not going to win very many matches with no aces in tennis, Joe.
Yeah, kind of crazy. And she didn't take it very well either. And she apparently is also not happy with the lack of privacy, Donnie, because she wants to be able to smash her rackets in peace and in privacy. But that did not happen. And now she believes there should be some sort of conversation regarding player privacy at the Australian Open, because she wants to smash her rackets and scream and yell and kick holes in the wall. She would like to do that in private, Donnie.
How about, you know what? How about this, Joe? Like, they have the court space out there. You have the one door on the wall, gives you that safe space. You open it, it's soundproof. You close it, they give you like 10 seconds while you're live on a match. Go in there, bust a racket up, scream out loud. You come back out as if nothing ever happened. What do you think about that? I think it could work. No cameras in there, no sound.
I like it. I like it, but apparently that's the problem, because there are cameras everywhere, parking lots, gyms, hallways. Apparently not a very video safe space for players, according to Coco Gauff.
And then the best part about it is when it sounds like, hey, you know what? You don't have to play tennis. You don't have to be famous. You don't have to be a movie star. You can live your life outside of it. That's not fair. That's not the question here. Yes, it always is the question. If you want to make millions of dollars, you will be in the public space. That's why you make millions of dollars here. All right. More stuff. Complete performance by Carlos Alcaraz. Look at Alcaraz beating Alex. I'm going to try to get this one right. D. Minoir. 7-5, 6-2, 6-1. He moves on. Matter of fact, if you would have told me like Carlos Alcaraz never lost, like I probably would believe you, even though I know he has.
Yeah, well, he did get pushed a little here early in the quarterfinals, but nothing nothing crazy. We saw Sinner get pushed also, but that was more because he was cramping, and but he ended up putting it together and ended up getting by. But this is one of the chalkiest tournaments, Donnie, that we've seen in a while, because we've got, it looks like what? We've got all of the top 4 or 5 seeds on the women's side, as well as the men's side, of all advanced past the quarterfinals here. So it's all chalk. It's like number 1 seed, number 2 seed, all of the top players that you think would be here. Usually one of them gets upset, but we haven't necessarily seen that to this point. The higher seeds keep advancing.
How about this? Yannick Sinner is a huge favorite over Ben Shelton. I'm seeing as high as minus 1,700. You want that dog price plus 890 here. Any chance for the American to take down Born Sinner?
No, I don't think it is. But again, Sinner was kind of pushed there, had to deal with some cramping issues and stuff. So we'll see what happens here. But, Shelton was playing in the wee hours, I think, of the night there in order to be able to advance at this point. So we'll see. I mean, it's one or the other, right? If he beats Sinner, it's going to be either Alcaraz or, Novak waiting. So congrats, one way or the other. If you get through Sinner, you got Alcaraz. If you don't, well, then we're looking at likely Sinner and Alcaraz once again.
By the way, is this the tournament that does have like a curfew where you can't play too long at night? Is that this one, or is that maybe the French Open? Like one of those where you're not allowed to physically go past a certain number or start. Who knows? Maybe it's this one or not at this point. Yeah, we gotta ask some people that can help us out on that. Ted, look, we're learning with you people right now. We know the names to the game, and we're gonna have some fun with it. Djokovic taking on Musetti, the number 4 seed versus the number 5 seed here. Musetti only a plus 230 underdog. Can he pull the upset over Djoko?
Feels like forever since we've seen him that small of a favorite, right? Here, but again, Donnie, it's amazing. The 1 seed, the 2 seed, the 3 seed, the 4. I mean, it very rarely do we ever get that in tennis where all the top seeds keep playing one another here, and eventually it's likely going to be number 1 versus number 1. Listen, I would not bet against him. He does like this surface. He's had experience. He's had success here. He's still a $2 favorite, even at 100 years old, for a reason.
Flip it over to the women's side. How about this? A virtual draw rate here versus Rybakina and Swiatek. A minus 122 price on Rybakina here to knock off Swiatek. 2 names you should know in the women's game.
I just like the fact that you pulled out Swiatek there. No, I think, again, very chalky, and I'm shocked that she's not a bigger favorite, if we're being honest, because the numbers that I'm looking like in some spots here continue to rise in her favor.
How about Pegula still playing tennis? Is this why we don't have a head coach in line already for the Buffalo Bills? Because the Pegula family's too worried about their daughter playing in a major down under. Maybe they're taking the plane back and forth, going to these matches as it sits. But Pegula here is a slight dog to Anisimova, who's a minus 330 price.
Yeah, again, big favorites for a reason, Donnie, here. As nice a story as it was for Pegula, but I think her time is coming up. Maybe she can help hire the next Buffalo Bills head coach. What do you think? If once she gets knocked out of this, we'd be good to go. Something tells me this is going to be just chalky from here on out.
Look, they interviewed Phillip Rivers. Why not just interview the daughter? Maybe the daughter, hey, you know what? I learned a lot. I played tennis at a high level. Put the headset on me. We'll make this thing go. I'll be a true CEO head coach at this point. Sabalenka and Svitolina. That's going to take place tomorrow, which sees Svitolina a plus 310 underdog and Sabalenka a minus 385 favorite as the tournament continues to move on down under.
Yeah, well, like we said, I mean, betting against, a 3-time champion here who loves this surface and she was the one to beat. She was always going to be the one beat. She's still the one to beat here. And I don't think a big dog is going to upset her before she gets to that final.
Tennis, I do, like, if I say like tennis, like I do like women's tennis better than men's tennis, because I just think men's tennis too many times is just overpower the serve and that's how you're going to win. Like I do like more of a volley back and forth. So I do like the women's side more. And I do think there's more intrigue on the women's side at times than the men's, because it just seems like it comes down to 2 people every single tournament. And I just need a little bit more. That's all.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. And the problem with Sabalenka is that when her serve is on, Donnie, she's unbeatable. We saw this, with Serena. It's just the serve sets everything else up. And if you can't return it, you can't beat her. And she has very similar traits like that.
There you go. So looking at Carlos Alcaraz, that top seed, to possibly take it down for the men and have some fun. And by the way, Joe, are we too far away from having majors in tennis and also pickleball? How about that?
Well, I mean, listen, there's a lot of these guys could their next career will be in the pickleball courts of Boca Raton or Delray Beach somewhere, Donnie. I can assure you of that. Some of these guys, in fact, should be on pickleball courts instead of tennis courts here right now. But yes, it is coming sooner rather than later. Be kind of weird seeing Novak, right, on a pickleball court.
Retirement
tour.
Weird. Yeah, go to the little retirement circuit that they have, like the Masters tournament here. If we take a look, I do see that you have doubles as well. Like with Wimbledon, it's like mixed doubles. They have so many tournaments. Like there's 90,000 Wimbledon champions here. Like I wonder if I would be a good doubles player, Joe. Do you think you could probably just be, because when you worry about yourself and be selfish, which I am most of the time, like, you could play singles tennis. Doubles tennis, I think I'd be getting angry at my partner too much, though.
Totally different game, which is what makes anybody who's ever played pickleball trying to figure out, am I going to the net? Are you going to the net? Like what's going on? Should I play back? It's not easy. It looks easier, but it's not with doubles.
Now, you got to be in the tennis capital of the world down there. You got to have more tennis courts than actual car dealerships down there in your area. The old timers got to get out there and stretch their legs just a little bit. But certainly the pros are stretching the legs down under. What's the next tournament? Is it Wimbledon? Is it the French Open? Like, what's the next one up on the docket for the majors? The French Open.
I believe it's the French.
Is the next up here.
Then Wimbledon, yeah.
There you go. Breakfast at Wimbledon, one of the single worst events of my life. Get it off my TV, people. Now let's get back to what really matters. Mr. Kaufman's joining us next.
Class is in session. Today, let's talk about the teaser. A teaser is a multi-leg bet where you shift the point spread in your favor. You get better numbers, but every selection has to win. It doesn't matter what you bet if you don't have the insights. Tune into SportsGrid and get ahead of the class.
But I remember being 16 in high school, being in my school uniform, long pants and a tie, and I deadlifted 200 kgs, so that's 440 pounds. So so that was I actually have a video of it, so it might get leaked somewhere. Someone might be able to find that one.
We might need to get that one to B-roll the show in.
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
Marshall's a tough environment, though. Marshall's that sneaky road trip, in my opinion, and this has been like a decade long that Marshall's been fire at home and terrible on the road. That's a dangerous road game, but if you look at, there's no return game with Kent State. There's no return game with Akron. Maybe when they go to UMass with Frank Martin being such a good coach, he could really take teams out of their rhythm. But I think there's a case that they could be undefeated in the regular season.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
57% chance of winning a PGA Tour major. Would I be wrong by saying I want to invest in the no on Scotty Scheffler? And that $100 investment would pay back $213 here. Everybody thinks Scotty's going to win. It's like 100 golfers in those fields each and every week in the majors, the best golfers in the world. I'm going against the grain, Joe. Give me the no on Scotty Scheffler.
Prediction Markets Edge, only on SportsGrid.
The calm before the Super Bowl storm. You have a week to sort of recover from what took place in AFC, NFC championship game Sunday, and also what we anticipate is going to happen in San Francisco / Santa Clara for the Super Bowl. I'm Donnie Rightside. He's Joe Ranieri. It's bringing Adam Kaufman here because we got a lot to talk about, including those Patriots who, after 7 years of a hiatus, back into the Super Bowl, Adam.
Look, there are second graders in New England that didn't know what this experience felt like, guys. So, long time coming, obviously. And now let's see if the Patriots can finish the job. But, yeah, I'm excited, obviously, just to have another couple weeks to talk about this team. I'm sure that you guys and most of the country are feeling the exact opposite way. But I will present you, at least. It could have been Jarrett Stidham and the Broncos. I mean, you have to at least be happy that it's this situation. I'm sure you're not rooting for the Pats. People are probably on the Sam Darnold train and rooting for that story right now, and I get it. But, I mean, you would have had a 10-point spread if it was the Broncos in this position. So at least the Patriots might give us a game here.
No, you're right about that, Adam. The Broncos loss saved us from what we were setting up for the next 2 weeks. And come on now, it's about superstars and big stories. Like, say what you want about Drake May. Guy's going to be either 1-2 in the MVP race. We need some marquee talent in the Super Bowl, which we got. So let's go back to that game because I do think this is a great talking point. A lot of people look at that Patriots-Broncos game and go 10-7. Oh, the Rams were so much fun in the Seahawks. Styles make fights and situational play makes sense because when you get into a game and it's close and the snow's coming down, just make one more play than the other team. You don't need style points here. But also, the talk about the entire previous week was, this is a team that wasn't really used to winning it outside of this year. The past 2 years, not great records. You're firing coaches. You're trying to break in a new quarterback. The expectations, Adam, coming into this game was the Patriots should walk away an easy winner because Stidham is the quarterback. That wasn't the case. They met adversity, and they won the game.
Yeah, it certainly was not an easy win, which, you almost have to pick a lane, right? For all of us, and I'm on this list, one of the leaders of the pack that was skeptical of the Broncos defense and calling it, somewhat fraudulent, underachieved in the second half of the year, is underwhelmed here in the playoffs. You have to say, okay, either you give the Broncos their due and acknowledge, wait a minute, this is a great top 5 defense, or the Patriots offense just has not been very good here in the postseason. And, I'd like to meet somewhere in the middle and say that the weather obviously had an impact on this game, but more so in the second half. The first half, the weather was not an issue, and the Patriots offense still looked terrible. So, yeah, I think I enter into this game against another elite defensive unit there for Seattle and say, Drake May, despite the fact, like you said, in the MVP conversation, he and that offense, Josh McDaniels overseeing them as the OC, they've got a little something to prove here in the Super Bowl because the offense did not look great against the Chargers. It did not look great against the Texans, and it certainly did not look great against the Broncos. Now, you can obviously say, as many have screamed, well, it's 3 top 5 defenses. How good do you expect to look? And that's fine. That's fair. But you still need to do more than just kind of make a key play in the second half as the game moves along. At least I expect to see that. Like I would have thought the Patriots would put up 20 plus points against the Broncos and, be well out in front and on the way to a relatively easy win, as you talked about before, all of the last quarter and a half blizzard, that we saw was endured out there on the field. But something isn't clicking, whether it's the game calling, the execution. I don't know. I'm curious to see what it looks like, though. But the Seahawks, if nothing else, and Joe and I talked about this during the show on Sunday, they look vulnerable defensively, more so than I would have expected. That, to me, was kind of the biggest thing to come out of that Seahawks-Rams game that really surprised me. It was, I know the Rams have a great offense with another MVP candidate, even favorite, in Matthew Stafford, and obviously Puka Nacua is incredible, and Kyron Williams, Blake Corum, they're a solid tandem out of the backfield. But the way they were going up and down the field, scoring almost at ease against that Seahawks defense, the vaunted defense, that surprised me. That kind of gave me hope that maybe we will see some points in this game, whereas I would have thought otherwise you'd get something of a defensive rock fight.
So we did that game, and the thing that stuck out to us was the lack of rushing attempts by Seattle, and the Rams were a top 5 defense against the run. They were beatable in the secondary. It feels in a lot of aspects it's the same situation here where Sam Darnold is going to be asked to drop back and have to throw the ball. I saw, and I couldn't believe it, but I saw once again Kenneth Walker's rushing number at 77.5 yards. You're not rushing on New England. You weren't rushing on the Rams. You're not rushing on New England, are you?
Well, historically, the answer to that would be no, not with a healthy Milton Williams and Robert Spillane. I know there was the stretch there of a handful of games at the end of the regular season where the Patriots conversely couldn't stop the run and guys are going off against them, but that's because they weren't healthy. You know, as long as their guys in the trenches have come back and available as, you know, they have here in the playoffs in the last, you know, game or two of the regular season, whatever it was, they've looked like the team that they did throughout most of the year, which, to your point, elite against the run. I think one of the, you know, key differentials here in this game versus, you know, what it looked like against the Rams is, you know, I don't think Walker, I think Walker is going to be, you know, effective, obviously, out of the backfield as a pass catcher. But no, I mean, if he eclipses 50 rushing yards, that's going to surprise me a little bit. So where I think the Patriots are going to find an edge in this game, that doesn't mean they're going to win. I'd like to believe personally that they're going to win. That's how I'm going to be invested. But you know, where I do think they have an edge is, you know, a guy like Matthew Stafford. Had they gone against him, he's tremendous. He's good against the blitz, pressure, all of that. Sam Darnold, and I'm not going to go back to the well of the whole sees ghost thing, but, you know, the numbers bear themselves out. The guy, when he has a clean pocket, is completing 3/4 of the pass attempts that he tries. You know, when he's under pressure, it's like 52% this season. He does not handle pressure well. CJ Stroud does not handle pressure well. Jarrett Stidham does not handle pressure well. So, you know, there is an avenue here for the Patriots defense to make life for the quarterback very difficult. And so I don't know if Sam Darnold himself is going to be the one to be able to beat the Patriots unless JSN goes nuclear, which you can never rule out. This is the offensive player of the year.
Two manageable numbers here from each one of the quarterbacks here. Drake May listed at 224.5 as his passing prop, and Sam Darnold 227.5. Something to watch early in these practice reports. Drake May, a little bit of smoke, or maybe banged up his shoulder, and also Sam Darnold was still getting wrapped up on his oblique during that football game live. Oh, we got 2 weeks to ponder. Adam Kaufman and his New England Patriots back in the Super Bowl. Thanks for joining us this morning. We'll be right back after this break. %7 chance of winning a PGA Tour major. Would I be wrong by saying I want to invest in the no on Scotty Scheffler? And that $100 investment would pay back $213 here. Everybody thinks Scotty's going to win. There's like 100 golfers in those fields each and every week, and the majors, the best golfers in the world. I'm going against the grain, Joe. Give me the no on Scotty Scheffler.
Prediction Markets Edge. Only on SportsGrid.
What is going on with this John Morant saga, right? Joe's on the block. Joe wants to be traded. But now Joe comes back and he denies all trade talk and says John says he has no desire to play elsewhere. So he shut it down. He's still viewed as a franchise centerpiece when on the floor. Memphis, they're better with him.
Pro Basketball Today. Only on SportsGrid.
The Buffalo Bills have to find a new head coach. Take a look at the leaders right now. A 33% chance Brian Dable takes that job. You say, well, why? Wait a second here. He's the head coach of the New York Giants. Did you know he came from the Buffalo Bills and basically resurrected Josh Allen on that MVP trajectory while he was with the Buffalo Bills? Clay Kubiak, Joe Brady, Davis Webb, all offensive guys, which I agree with.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
Class is in session. Today, let's talk about the teaser. A teaser is a multi-leg bet where you shift the point spread in your favor. You get better numbers, but every selection has to win. It doesn't matter what you bet if you don't have the insights. Tune into SportsGrid and get ahead of the class.
Final segment of the day here on a Tuesday edition of the Early Line Sports Grid Network. Donnie Rightside along with Joe Ranieri. We like to reach out to the public. We'll give some best bets at this point, but also some hot topics. And we talked about it to open the show. The PGA Tour is coming back on ESPN. Brooks Koepka back to the PGA Tour starting this week. Let's hear from Rory on this one.
I think it says more about Brooks than anything else. He obviously is a very competitive person and wants to compete at the highest level. And, I think he made the decision that he thought competing at the highest level meant coming back to the PGA Tour. So you've seen others say this recently. Patrick Reed said it in Dubai last week. It seems like, some of those guys are maybe starting to realize that they're not getting everything that they wanted out of going over there. And that's obviously a great thing for the PGA Tour.
There you go. How about that, Joe? What do you think about Rory's comments?
Yeah, well, Roy, just beat Scheffler, because that's the only thing there is on the PGA Tour. Is nobody can seem to bet to beat him. So that's the problem right now. Very top-heavy, the PGA Tour. So it'll be interesting, though, to see what Brooks brings to the table. If nothing else, he's certainly bringing a whole lot of headlines to the PGA Tour outside of Scotty Scheffler, isn't he?
Yeah, by the way, Brooks would come back and be like, well, you play in this thing called the TGL, which is not the PGA Tour itself, so you play on a second league as well. You should give that up.
Exactly.
Again, realizing the TGL is in bed with the PGA up. Don't get into the semantics, people, because it makes too much sense. Let's get to our Fade the Public poll. We reached out and asked a question. Let's find out what it is. At SportsGrid on X, the question we asked the public, a very simple one today. Should the Bucks move on from Antetokounmpo? 2 answers. Yes, the time has come. No, he is their leader. 87.8% live. Yes, the time has come, Joe.
Yes, it has. The time has come. The problem is he's having an MRI. The problem is he's not healthy. And the problem is he's likely not going to be healthy for whoever trades for him and gives the world anyway. But I don't see this being just a one-on-one trade, Donnie. I think there are going to have to be multiple teams here, and it could be rebuild time here for the Milwaukee Bucks. But Giannis likely might have played his last game for Milwaukee here at this point.
And again, be careful what you wish for in Milwaukee. Trust me when I say this. No superstar is going to actively pick Milwaukee unless they get force traded there, like Damian Lillard, who couldn't stand it in Milwaukee, and Giannis, who got drafted there. Guys from South Beach aren't going to move to Milwaukee and make that their home here. So you get rid of your one superstar, you might not ever get one back here. Well, just the way things happen here. Now, it's time to win some of that money. Yesterday, it was sweet with the Charlotte Hornets yesterday for me. Let's see if we could double down. Here's bye. Talk to me, Joe. We got college basketball, hockey, tennis, all over the place. Where are you going for your best bet today?
Well, we're going to go to Belarus handball. No, I'm kidding.
Wow.
We are going to go, Donnie. If it ain't broke, we ain't fixing it here. And I've been telling you guys for weeks now, watch this Miami of Ohio basketball team. They are 20-0, and we just watched Arizona win. So they and Nebraska, who's also playing tonight, are the only other 2 undefeated teams in college basketball. Only Nebraska's got to take on Michigan, and Miami of Ohio has to take on UMass at home. Now, listen, they are 7-0 in games decided by single digits. You don't go 20-0 without a little bit of luck, right? And I'd rather be lucky than good sometimes, Donnie. But the reality is UMass having to travel to take on this Miami team, who I think is still underrated. UMass is taking money overnight because I think now the public is going, who is this Miami of Ohio team? They shouldn't be laying double digits. They're going to win by double digits tonight. Lay the 9.5, Donnie.
Yeah, Miami should light them up from three-point range in that game to get to the free throw line and put away their opponent tonight and cover by double digits. For me, going back to the association, I told you yesterday, I like the Sixers. They were in a bad spot yesterday. Lay the 3 with Charlotte. Charlotte was up by 50-plus points and cruised to a victory in that game. The Milwaukee Bucks come to town less than 24 hours later, and the Sixers are a double-digit favorite? No way. Yes way. We're taking the Philadelphia 76ers to win by double digits plus after getting beat by close to 50 last night. Sixers get the W. Miami, Ohio gets the W. That's a 2-0 night on a Tuesday. That's how it gets done, Joe. And that's how we'll end the show. How about that, Joe? Pretty good work today.
Just like that, Donnie. Got some tennis to watch.
Got some tennis to watch, maybe a meeting or two. See you tomorrow morning, bright and early.